Picture this: the world's most valuable luxury fashion brand. $39 billion. Over 400 stores across the globe. Products worn by kings, presidents, and billionaires. Now imagine all of this was started by a man who at 14 years old was sleeping in the woods. A man with no education, no money, no food. A man who walked 225 miles over 3 years because he couldn't afford a horse. This isn't fiction. This is the real story of Louis Vuitton. And if you think you know how empires are built, this story will change everything. Because this journey has it all. Betrayal by family. A hostile corporate takeover. Collaboration with Nazis. Legal wars. And a triumph that exceeded every expectation. On this channel, we don't just tell success stories for entertainment. We break them down for patterns, principles you can follow, mistakes you can avoid. And today, you'll discover exactly what decisions transformed a tiny workshop into one of the most powerful brands on the planet. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. We break down billion-dollar stories like this every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. But before we unpack these lessons, quick reality check. Here's the #1 reason most people never act on opportunities like these: mental overload. They hear about incredible rags to riches stories. They hear about billion-dollar decisions, but they're so mentally exhausted from their current job, their stress, their overthinking, that they never pull the trigger. Many successful entrepreneurs quietly use simple tools to reset mentally and maintain focus during high-pressure decisions. If that resonates with you, there's something in the description that might help. Let's get into it. 1821. A tiny village called Angers, somewhere in the middle of nowhere in rural France. No electricity, no running water. The Vuitton family barely making ends meet. Louis's father was a miller and farmer. His mother sewed hats to earn a bit of extra cash. Young Louis worked the fields from dawn to dusk. There's no record he ever went to school. He never learned to read or write. This was a typical story for that time. A poor family, a child destined to repeat his parents' fate. But then tragedy struck. Louis was just 10 years old when his mother died. His father remarried quickly, and the new stepmother made the boy's life unbearable. Picture yourself at 13. You've just lost your mother. A stranger moves into your home and makes your life hell. You have no education, no money, no connections. What do? Most people would have stayed, endured it, waited until they came of age. Louis Vuitton made a decision that would define his entire life. He ran away, in the middle of the night, without saying goodbye to anyone. His destination? Paris, the city of opportunity. Here's the first pattern of success: the willingness to risk everything when the alternative is a slow death of the spirit. But there was a problem. Paris was 225 miles away. Louis had no money, no food, no plan. He walked on dirt roads. He slept in the forest wrapped in a cloak. When he reached villages, he'd do odd jobs for food, fixing fences, helping blacksmiths, learning to work with metal, wood, fabric. This journey took 3 years. 3 years of hunger, cold, and uncertainty. Most people would have broken, would have turned back. But here's the second pattern. The greatest successes often emerge from the greatest trials. Those skills Louis picked up on the road became his competitive edge. At 16, Louis finally reached Paris. He found work as an apprentice with a master trunk maker who packed luggage for wealthy clients. This wasn't just a job. It was a masterclass in understanding the upper class. Louis learned to see how rich people traveled, what their problems were, what frustrated them. The third success pattern: observe your market's pain points from the inside. The best innovations don't come from laboratories. They come from the moment you witness a real customer problem. And Louis saw the main problem. All luggage back then was made of leather with rounded tops, so water would roll off. But you couldn't stack them. Porters had to carry them one by one. It was slow, inconvenient, expensive. He worked, learned, observed. And one day, his craftsmanship caught the eye of the Empress of France herself. In 1851, she appointed him her personal trunk maker and packer. For any craftsman, this was the pinnacle. Working at the royal court was an honor only a few ever received. Most people would stop there. Prestigious position, stable income, respect. But Louis saw further. At 33, he got married and made a life-changing decision: open his own workshop. The fourth pattern: true entrepreneurs don't settle for someone else's success. They create their own. Quick note here. You're probably noticing how we're breaking down these complex business stories. There's a reason for that. When ideas are presented visually and structurally, retention goes up by over 60%. If you're building any kind of content or learning from these stories, adding simple frameworks and visual thinking is one of the smartest moves you can make. We've got a tool recommendation in the description, Instadoodle, that helps with this. Full transparency, it's an affiliate link. If you check it out and buy it, this video earns a small commission. Now here's where the revolution began. Louis created something that had never existed. Trunks made of canvas with flat tops, lighter, stronger, waterproof, and most importantly, stackable. It seems so simple now, but back then it was groundbreaking. The entire travel industry worked the old way, and one man changed the rules. Louis already had a reputation. He had connections in high society, and when he launched his luggage line, success came instantly. Within 2 years, his trunks became status symbols among the wealthy. Orders came from around the world. By 1859, he hired 20 craftsmen, opened a new workshop. Business grew every month. It seemed like the success story was complete. From homeless teenager to successful entrepreneur. But fate had another test in store. 1870. Louis was 49, his business thriving. Then the Franco-Prussian War broke out. Paris under siege. Louis forced to flee and live in a cramped shelter with thousands of others. Every day a fight for survival. When the war ended and he returned to his workshop, devastation awaited him. Everything he'd built for 20 years, destroyed. He was almost 50. Most people at that age don't have the strength to start over from scratch. But Louis did what separates true entrepreneurs from everyone else. He didn't give up. He took his savings and rebuilt the business, and made it better than before. The fifth success pattern. Crises aren't endings. They're opportunities for transformation. After the war, Paris had many empty shops available. Louis used this. He opened his new workshop in an elite district, right next to the railway station and a grand hotel. Travelers who needed luggage now walked past his storefront. Genius move. In 1872, he launched a new design. Beige striped canvas. It became a hit. For the next 20 years, Louis worked in his workshop. He died in 1892 at age 70. But the brand story was just beginning. The company passed to Louis' son, George, and he understood something crucial. To grow the brand, you need to think globally. George opened a store in London, started expansion, but there was a problem. Counterfeits. Everyone was trying to copy Louis Vuitton's designs. In 1896, George created what would become one of the most recognizable logos in history, the LV monogram, his father's initials. This wasn't just beautiful design. It was brand protection strategy. By 1900, the company employed 100 people. Each went through extensive training. Even today, Louis Vuitton employees train for 18 months to 2 years before they're trusted to make products independently. The sixth pattern. Quality isn't an accident, it's a system. Then came a pivotal moment. In 1925, Coco Chanel commissioned a small dome-shaped handbag from Louis Vuitton. The company saw the potential and started mass production. The bag was named Alma and became a sensation. Louis Vuitton was no longer just a luggage maker. It was a fashion house. Bags stopped being merely functional items. They became status symbols. But then came the darkest chapter. 1936. The company passed to Gaston Louis Vuitton, and almost immediately, World War II began. Paris occupied. Contracts canceled. The factory forced to close. Business on the brink of collapse. Gaston made a decision the company would hide for decades. He collaborated with the Nazi regime. When historian Stephanie Bonvicini was writing a book about Louis Vuitton and requested access to wartime archives, the company claimed all documents from 1930 to 1945 were destroyed in a fire. But Stephanie found other sources. Turns out, Louis Vuitton was able to open a glamorous shop during the occupation. Meanwhile, other brands that refused to cooperate with the Nazis were forced to shut down. This is an uncomfortable truth, but it's the reality of business under extreme conditions. They chose company survival. The seventh pattern. Success stories are rarely clean. Great companies sometimes make decisions they're not proud of. After the war, the company moved to its fourth generation, Henry Racamier. And this is where the real transformation began. Henry was an experienced businessman. He saw the brand's potential and changed the entire model. From family business to corporation. Opened stores worldwide. By 1978, sales grew to $260 million annually. In 1984, the company went public. By 1987, revenue hit $1 billion. Henry decided to merge with Moet Hennessy. Together, they created LVMH, a luxury conglomerate. But then something happened Henry never expected. He invited Bernard Arnault to help with management, and Bernard secretly bought 43% of the shares, gained support from the Moet and Hennessy families, and seized control of LVMH. Henry felt betrayed. He sued, but lost, and eventually left the company his family had built for nearly a century. For the first time in history, no one from the Vuitton family managed the brand. Sales dropped. It looked like the end. But Bernard Arnault knew exactly what to do. For the brand's centennial, Bernard organized collaborations with leading designers: Vivienne Westwood, Isaac Mizrahi. They created their own versions of the iconic monogram, products no one had seen before. People wanted Louis Vuitton again. Today, Bernard Arnault is the CEO of LVMH. His net worth, $180 billion. He regularly ranks in the top 5 richest people on the planet. Under his leadership, LVMH owns over 70 luxury brands. But it all started with the hostile takeover of Louis Vuitton. Today, Louis Vuitton is a $39 billion brand, a presence in every major city worldwide. From a homeless teenager sleeping in the forest to a $180 billion empire. So what patterns can we extract from this story? First, the willingness to risk everything. Louis Vuitton ran away from home at 13. No money, no plan. Most entrepreneurs are afraid to risk when they have savings and connections. He risked having nothing. Second, turn trials into skills. 3 years on the road taught him to work with different materials. That became his competitive advantage. Your hardest moments can become your greatest assets if you extract the lessons. Third, observe pain points from inside the industry. Louis didn't invent flat-top trunks in a vacuum. He worked with wealthy clients for years and saw their problems firsthand. The best innovations come from intimate knowledge of customer frustration. Fourth, don't fear leaving comfort zones. He walked away from a prestigious royal position to start his own business. Security is the enemy of greatness. Fifth, crises are opportunities in disguise. After the war, he didn't just rebuild. He chose a better location. When everything falls apart, you get to redesign from scratch. Sixth, quality is a system, not an accident. Even today, employees train for 2 years. Excellence is built through processes and standards, not luck or talent alone. Seventh, success stories aren't always clean. The company survived Nazi collaboration, hostile takeovers, legal battles. The path to the top is rarely straight or ethical at every turn. And finally, true brand value outlives the founder. Louis died in 1892, but his legacy lives on today, stronger than ever. What you build can become immortal if you build it right. Now here's my question for you. Which of these patterns hit you the hardest? Was it the 3-year walk to Paris? The decision to leave royal employment? The war comeback? Or maybe the uncomfortable truth about Nazi collaboration? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you want more stories like this, make sure you're subscribed. We break down billion-dollar brands every week. Thanks for watching. Now stop watching and start building.